Please help me out for just a minute. I can see clearly now I can see all obstacles. Gone are the dark clouds that That's close. It's going to be a bright. Not bad. All right. Mike, I think we do have a few new choir members up here, so Spike, just stay where you're sitting. That's my homily. So I'm going to go sit back down. Is that okay? You're not going to get off that easy. I'm Irish, I'm Catholic, and you know I always have lots to say. So, what is wrong with you? Why do you do things that way? Why do you say things that way? What is wrong with you? I'm sure those are questions sometimes that we've heard as we're growing up. I'm sure they're questions that we even hear, as an adult. We have these weaknesses. We have these inadequacies. And, of course, people are always good in trying to point those out. Maybe there are things that we know. We know we're weak in certain areas. We know we're inadequate in certain areas. We know we fall short in certain areas. Maybe others don't know. Maybe we have these in secret. Maybe we hide them because we're just afraid to expose them. Today's gospel message has a lot to do with that idea of our weakness, of our inadequacies. Of course, it's the story of Jesus healing the blind man in the Gospel of John. What I love about all these stories of healing and these signs that take place during the Gospel of John is they're not just some simple story where it says Jesus walked into a town and he healed the blind man. There's always some incredible discussion and dialogue that takes place, and it's drawn out, so that we can better understand. But this particular story, of course, we see Jesus coming into the town with his disciples, and of course, there is a beggar, a blind beggar, and, they have that same question in their minds, what is wrong with us? What is wrong with him? And they want Jesus to answer them and figure out, what is wrong? Why do we have these inadequacies? Why do we have these weaknesses? And of course, they pose the question to him. It says, his disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Now, this is the game changer. Jesus gives a response where I think they thought that he was going to say, well, it's because of his parents' sin, it's because of his sin. He doesn't say that. He says pretty simply, neither he nor his parents sinned. It is so that the works of God might be made visible through him. It's through our weaknesses. It's through our inadequacies that God works through that to show his strength, to show who he really is, and to show that despite our human weakness, our human failings, he is there to work through it. He is there to lift us out. I know I used that song to start this off, and you're probably thinking, Ron's just going to talk about this being a feel-good religion. It's not a feel-good religion. I can tell you it's about a relationship. It's about a relationship that we have the opportunity to be a part of when we say yes to Jesus, when we say yes to God, when we say yes to our faith. Not something that's just 1 hour a week on Sundays, but it's something that's a part of our life all the time. I always like to say one of the greatest gifts that my parents gave to me was my faith. And what I always, love about it is in thinking about their example of faith and their example of sharing with us kids as we were growing up, is it wasn't something that we did just 1 hour a week on Sundays. It was something that it was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They helped us to see that it's not the feel-good religion that we all want it to be, but it's a relationship that we draw ourselves into. And it's in that relationship that we start to take our weaknesses and we give them over to God. If anybody knows anything about 12-step programs, 12-step programs are all about saying, I'm powerless. That's how it begins. I am too weak to do this alone. I cannot do this by myself. And then from there to the next step that says, I'm going to put it in God's hands. Because it's through Him, it's going to help me to get through it. And that's what he's saying in this gospel message today. He says, look, it's not about the sin. I'm not going to get focused on that right now. What I want you to know is that we all have weaknesses. We all have inadequacies. But if you just give them over to me, I'm going to show you the power of God and how that power of God can bring you out. Now, like the song says, it says, I can see all obstacles in my way. It doesn't mean that those obstacles are gone. They're still there, but it is through that relationship that we have when we say yes to Him that we're able to walk through it. You can ask anybody that deals with addictions and, is in one of those programs, they're going to tell you that it isn't that they're no longer an addict. They're going to tell you I'm a recovering addict, but every day that's right there chasing me. But as long as I look forward and I keep my eyes focused on Him, it's going to get me through. But you see, this story is all about our weaknesses too. This is a scrutiny weekend. Yesterday we had the catechumens and candidates, and they came forward, and we had the prayer and the blessing, so that they could then leave and then discuss and then break open that word. If you remember what I told you last week about scrutiny, it was about kind of opening it up. But I want to read to you once again what I read last week, that comes from the Wrights book for Christian initiation, when it says the scrutinies are meant to uncover. They're meant to heal. They're meant to heal all that is weak, defective, or sinful in the hearts of the elect. And I love this part, to bring out, then strengthen all that is upright, all that is strong, and all that is good. As much as this speaks to the catechumens and the candidates on this journey to the Easter baptism, it speaks to all of us. I hope that, during the Lenten season, one of the things that we do is we do step back and we say, where do I fall short? Where am I weak? What is my inadequacy? And Jesus, I just want to give that over to you. I want to allow you to take over because I know I am powerless to try to control it myself. You know what those are. I know what they are in my own life. I can tell you I've had lots of moments where I've fallen. I've had lots of moments where I've been weak. I have lots of moments where, I looked up and I said, what is wrong? Why did I do this? I'm never shy about talking about one of the lowest points in my life, one of the times that I stumbled so hard, where I just couldn't believe that this was happening to me, and that is when I went through a divorce. Never an easy thing. Never an easy thing. And I thought, no, that couldn't happen to me. I'm Deacon Ron. That can't happen to me. But it did. But I can tell you it was in that weakness, it was in that feeling of failure that I said, I can't do this, God, by myself. I cannot do it, and I need you to lift me up. And I do know at that moment, that's where God became manifest in my weakness. And He became strong, and He lifted me up. There are so many stories in Scripture, just, even when we think about Peter and we think about Paul, they talk all the time about how they were weak. In 2 Corinthians chapter 12, I love that reading because St. Paul says, you know what? I have fallen many times. I have been weak many times. But it is in my weakness that He is strong. It is in my weakness that he is strong. Our Lenten journey is all about looking at our lives and seeing what's wrong and what can we give it over to, what can we give over to God? I mean, that's what it's all about. So I hope this week that we reflect on, again, what's wrong? What do we need to give over to him so that he can become strong in us? And what tries to control us, because so many times we try to do it ourselves and we self-medicate or we do this and that. And we think, I can do it. You're not going to do it. You're going to continue to stumble. But when you look at him and say, I'm powerless, I just want to give it over to you, I can promise you, you're going to find strength. You're going to find how he is strong in you. So as the song says, I can see clearly now. I can see all obstacles. You know the next part? Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's going to be a bright, bright, bright. But my friends, it's not a feel-good religion. It's a relationship. Say yes to it.